Now, it's interesting to observe that to a large extent, the basis of quantitative genetics were set before the discovery of Mendelian rules. So let me go to a gentleman, Sir Francis Galton, that actually discovered an important principle, which is that of the regression of the offspring on parents. So this is the original data from Galton. It's a plot of the average age of parents against the average age of their children. And what he noted is that there was a linear relationship between the stature in parents and the stature of children. But when you look at groups of tall parents, they tended to produce children that on average were smaller than their parents, whereas groups of short parents on average produced children that were a little bit taller than their parents. And that phenomenon was called regression to the mean. And he thought that a linear description was a good representation of human stature from a mathematical perspective. Well, many, many years later, the Galton's original data were analyzed non-parametrically. So these are scatter diagrams relating the heights of fathers with sons, fathers with daughters, mothers with sons, and mothers with daughters. And using a non-parametric method, non-parametric linear regression method, they found that this line is actually not straight. It bends at some point. You see, there is some bending. And the bending perhaps may be because there is imperfect smoothing or not enough smoothing, but we still do not understand why this bend takes place, even though human stature is perhaps one of the most widely studied traits in human genetics. It's highly heritable. It has a heritability of about 80%, as estimated by many different statistical methods, but we still do not understand why this bend occurs. So this was discovered before Mendelian laws were presented, and even in the absence of an understanding of the complexities of agricultural traits, of agricultural traits. Another important statistical development that took place before the Mendelian times was that of the concept of mixture of distributions. This is Professor Carl Pearson from Great Britain, and he was analyzing crabs from the Bay of Naples in Italy, and he measured crabs, and he found that the distribution, look at this histogram if you please, there was a bimodality. So he postulated that there were two populations, and therefore he tried to fit this histogram by overlaying two distributions, each of which would be represented with a certain probability in the overall data set. And that is today what is called a mixture of distributions, and plays an important role in statistical analysis from many different perspectives, including in whole genome prediction, where we use mixtures as prior distributions in Bayesian models.